Okay, so this video will cover the volume of spheres, cones, and cylinders, and here are the formulas. So they're formulas that are going to be given to you by your teacher, or they'll be given to you if you're my student by me. So a sphere, this V stands for volume, so volume equals, so this number 4/3, I want you to know, is always there. You will always use 4/3 for a sphere. You will never use no other number besides 4/3, so always write 4/3. Okay, so the volume of a sphere is written as 4/3 pi r cubed. So pi can be estimated. You can use in your calculator as 3.14. We are in 8th grade. If you're in older grades, sometimes we just use pi as is. And the r stands for the radius of the sphere. So in the next slide, we'll get into that where you locate the radius. A cone. So the cone, the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared times the height. So this is a formula we'll use. And today for cylinders, we will use the formula of volume equals pi r squared times the height. So let's go through a couple examples using these formulas. Okay, example 1. All right, so taking a look at our first example, what we're going to do is we're going to use that pi. Okay, we're going to use this 3.14, and we have a sphere. So here's what a sphere looks like. So it's basically a fancy name for a ball. So if you see an object that looks like a ball, the volume that you need, the formula that you need to use for its volume is V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Now, if you're given the shape, what you're looking for is you're looking for a label where there's a dot that goes halfway. So it's like if you take this circle here, okay, and you want a dot that goes halfway. Now, sometimes what they like to do, okay, I'm not going to give any examples like this. So in some examples, they give a line that goes all the way across. If they give you a measurement that goes all the way across, you must cut that number in half first. But for our examples, I'm only going to give us just the straight radius so we can practice plugging into the formula and getting our work done. So here we go. So example 1 here. So we have a radius of 2. So what I'm going to do for my formula, so for a sphere, most of it is already done for you. What you're going to do for a sphere, you will write the volume of a sphere is equal to, let's give this some units so we can do this good. So let's say that this is 2 centimeters. And for example 2, sorry not to stop here, let's say that that's 5 feet. All right, so let's get back to this example in example 1. So we have a volume that has a radius, we have a sphere of a radius that is 2 centimeters long. So here we go. The first thing we always write is this 4/3. That's automatically there. And pi, now for pi, we don't have to write pi. If you want to use pi in your calculator, you can. But I'm going to use a parenthesis, and I'm just going to choose 3.14, okay, to estimate for pi. And then the last thing I need to do is I need to type in 2 cubed. Now, 2 cubed means 2 times 2 times 2. Do not make the mistake of saying that that's 6. A lot of people like to say 2 times 2 times 2 is 6. Go through the multiplications or do it on your calculator. Type in 2 times 2 times 2 or type in 2 raised to the third power. But you do need to know that 2 to the third power is 8. So this is going to be written as 2 parentheses with a 3. And then what I'm going to do is you can type this entire side here as you see it in the calculator and hit enter. And when you do so, you will get volume of this sphere, okay, is equivalent to 33.493, and this 3 keeps repeating. Now, to finish this off, because we're talking about volume, volume takes up space. Okay, it doesn't just take up part of an area, so it takes up space. It takes up physical space. So what we do is we write that as cm cubed. So all volume, all of their dimensions are going to be cubed. So my final answer to this one is 33.493 repeated centimeters cubed. Great, on to the next one. So the next one, we do the same thing. We start off with volume. So volume is equal to this 4, oh, whoop, that's not a 4, is equal to 4/3, okay, times pi. So I'm going to use 3.14. You can use something else if you want to, but I'm not going to, times 5 to the third power. So now, I rarely can type all of this into my calculator. If you don't want to type 5 to the third in the calculator, you can type in the calculator 5 times 5 times 5, and that will be equal to 125. So if you'd rather type in 4 over 3 times 3.14 times 125, you will get the same thing, but inevitably you get for an answer, you get V equals 523.3 repeated. Now we have to talk about our units, and our measurement units are feet. So we don't just write feet because we're talking about volume. We just take a little 3 and place it on there, so that means cubed. So that means it takes up volume. It doesn't just take up area, it also takes up height. And that's it. That's the calculation for a sphere. So what you're looking for is its radius, and from its radius, you're just plugging in the formula before. On to the next one. Okay, so the next object is a cone, and the cone, same type of thing. So what you're looking for is you're looking for a measurement that's given to you. That's half of the circle, and then you're looking for the middle height here. You're looking for this height that also goes from the middle of the circle to the point of the cone. Okay, so sometimes next week we'll go over, right? Next week we'll go over this height here. So sometimes people get confused because they were given this outside length. All right, and we'll use that next week, and we'll review what is called the Pythagorean theorem to learn to do this. But anyhow, that height is what you're looking for. You're looking for two measurements that are on the inside of this cone, okay? So you're looking for the vertical one, and you're looking for the horizontal one that's halfway. So let's go ahead and get into it. So number one. So number one has a 7 and a 5. So 7 is my height. 5 is my radius. It's just a matter of plugging it into the calculator. So you can type in 1/3 times that by 3.14, and then you can multiply that by 5 squared, and then you can multiply that again by your height. Okay, so that formula, again, that I just was saying to you is V equals, so 1/3 always, pi, I'm going to switch to being 3.14. Okay, it's just the estimation for the value of pi, times r squared, which is 5 squared, and then times the height, which is in blue, which is 7. So just color coding these for you. There's the 5, and here's the 7 going along with my formulas. Okay, so there's only two numbers I'm actually getting out of my cone, and that is the radius, and that is the height. All these numbers in front are given to me. Okay, I will already have them. They're the same numbers every single time. But anyhow, you type this in your calculator, you hit enter, you get the volume is equal to 183.16 repeated. So the 6 gets repeated, so we write that, and the units were meters. And just as before, since we're talking about volume, we place a little 3 on top of that meters to recognize that it's meters cubed. And there's my final answer. And then you're done. So on to the next one. The next one doesn't have a picture. It just tells you directly what the things are. So we can go directly to our formula of volume equals a height of 10. But before we do that, we always type in 1/3. If you want to type pi in your calculator, go right ahead. I'm just switching it to the estimated 3.14. And then I will type in my radius. So my radius is 3. I will square it. And then I will type in my height, and my height is the value of 10. And then I'm simply going to type this entire thing right into my calculator and then hit enter. So depending on what type of calculator you have, depends on how you write a fraction in. But either way, okay, you can literally type everything as you see it directly into your calculator and hit enter. And when you do that, you get 94.2. So you get this volume of 94.2. And now 94.2, we take a look at what were the units of measurement. We were talking about centimeters. And because we're talking about volume, we place a little 3 on it. So volume always has a 3 on it, okay? And that's it. There are your cones. So that's how you find the volume of cones. So let's go on to the next one. All right, last problem is a cylinder. So if you look at this looks kind of like a can, if you think about it, or like a battery. So here we go. We have a formula, volume. And it says volume is equal to pi times the radius times the height. So again, the radius. So a lot of times on cylinders, okay, on cones, the height usually is measured on the inside, but on cylinders, they usually like to put the height on the outside because it's already part of it. So the part that connects the two circles together on the outside is known as the height. So just in case you have a cylinder, all right, just in case you ever encounter a cylinder that's turned on its side like this, Just so you know, the height of a cylinder is considered to be the part that is connecting the two circles, just so we're all on the same page here. So just in case you have one that's tilted on its side like this, just know that the height is always the part that connects those two circles that you will see in your cylinder. Okay, so now moving forward. So we have an example we're just going to use. So for example number 1, volume is equivalent to pi, which is 3.14, just going to use the estimation. R squared, so r squared is the radius, so we're looking for the point that goes from the middle of a circle all the way over, so middle of a circle to the side of the circle, and we get 3. Now 3 squared is 3, so the radius squared is 3 squared. And the last number we need to put on here is going to be the height. Now, if you look in this problem in red, it is 6. So we multiply that by 6. So again, you can type this whole entire thing as you see it in your calculator. You can type 3.14, multiply that by 3 squared, and then times that by 6. And what you get is you get a volume that is equivalent to 169.56. And then we take a look at our units. Our units are inches, so we write inches. And because we have a V for volume, we throw a little cube on it. And then that is my final answer. Okay, on to the last problem. We have a radius of 0.75 millimeters, and we have a height of 20 millimeters. So our volume always starts off with the same for a cylinder. We use 3.14 for pi. And our radius, so our radius is 0.75, the value squared, and then we multiply it by the height, which is 20, so we're just filling in a formula. So make sure when you're watching this video, now that we're at the end, make sure you do copy down these formulas so you can use those over and over again, because you do need to have them with you. So volume equals, and you type it all in your calculator, 3.14 times 0.75 squared times 20, and you hit enter, and what you get is you get 35.325. And again, we're talking about millimeters, so I'll continue with this idea of millimeters, and just remember, because it's volume, we'll get a little 3 with it, and there it is. We're now done, and that is the volume of spheres, cones, and cylinders. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you like the video, let me know. And if you want to, I guess, subscribe, let me know. It doesn't matter. It's all good and fun here. We're just trying to get some stuff done. All right, have a good one.